Hey folks, Eric here, the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever for me. And do you folks want to know why is the Alabama medical marijuana licensing process so flawed? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know, man, my name's Eric. I'm the Whatever Guy. I do shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world. Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, what's going on around. And having said that, man, sitting here bullshitting around. As you guys know, man, yesterday was sitting here talking, and we had two videos come out yesterday simply because we were talking about the Enchanted Green lawsuit coming forward. That was the second video yesterday. There's just a lot of crazy shit going on with the AMCC, man, and just about the time that we think we're getting it kind of figured out. My understanding is that not only with the Enchanted Green lawsuit, that we actually have a couple more TROs that may be possibly coming this week, filing for temporary restraining orders and stuff like that. It's just a crazy situation, and I just don't understand why we can't get it right. Josh Moon, that wrote that article yesterday over at the Alabama Reporter, he actually came out with another article. Maybe he came out with it right before that one yesterday or right after that one. But we're going to take a look at it and see what it says. And he brings up some really good points and brings up some really glaring issues along with the AMCC and stuff that we've talked about before. So we're going to talk about this right here. And like I said, this is over at the Alabama Reporter. And I think since I become, I think I'm thinking about changing my name. So I come from the kitchen counter every morning. I'm not talking about the kitchen counter cannabis guy or something. But either way, man, sitting here just relaxing, drinking a cup of coffee, bullshitting with you guys, and going over these articles first thing in the morning. It says, is there a reason medical cannabis licensing has been so flawed? After egregious mistake on top of egregious mistake, it is fair to wonder if this whole process is rigged. And that's what a lot of these people are wondering about, because here's the thing, like, it's not like we're the first state to do this. I think in this article, they point out that there's 30 states that have already done, this medical marijuana program throughout the United States. So it's not like we didn't have anywhere to pull knowledge from to get ideas and to see the issues that were had long before that. It's almost like they looked at this, these commissioners looked at this, the last 30, these 30 other states and said, okay, this is the way we can get our fucking money. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what's going on here, but the fact of the matter, I don't want to accuse anybody of something that's not, that's not doing something, but this thing right here, man, has been going on for quite a while, and it appears as though they're going to make them try to award those licenses a fourth time, and this is going to be a crazy situation all the way around. And so I'm just gonna kind of go down through this article here and take a look at it. And Josh Moon writes really well, does a really good job. And he actually did, like I said, did a good job on that article yesterday. And I think you guys are going to like this today. It says, why has the licensing process for medical marijuana businesses in Alabama been so weird? Whenever I talk to someone who has followed this process, which is now in the midst of a third attempt to simply award licenses, that's the one question that always gets asked. And it's a fair one, right? I mean, we're not exactly blazing a new trail here. More than 30 other states did this before us. All of them went through a licensing process of some sort. So we had 30 papers to cheat off of and more than a decade of information to pull from. But somehow we're still failing the test and failing it spectacularly. Let me go back up. Sorry about that, guys. Our Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission has screwed up simple things. It has made really dumb errors. It has failed to follow its own laws and then failed to follow them again. And the initial failings were pointed out. And it has snubbed its nose at basic state laws, such as the Alabama Opens Meeting Act. These folks at the AMCC must be real dummies, or they are not dummies at all. And something else is going on here, something nefarious, something shady. I'm going to be careful about how I scroll down this time, guys, and I'll get you guys screwed up. To be clear, there is no hard evidence of self-dealing shenanigans, the type of Alabama politicians are famous for getting wrapped up in. But there's quite a bit of circumstantial evidence, and there are a whole bunch of people talking about it, speculating about it, putting two and two together, and mostly coming up with something less than four. Their speculation, though, isn't driven by ill will or dislike of the AMCC staff. Instead, it is simply a matter of educated people who have years of experience dealing with Alabama political malfeasance, trying to apply logic to what so far been a very illogical and confusing process. For example, on Monday, I highlighted a lengthy column, the numerous and very serious issues present in many of the applications for integrated licenses. Those integrated licenses have been the big problem in this process because that's where the big money is in this process. That's where the national companies with the big bucks are playing. In all of the other categories, with the exception of a bump here or there, the licensing process has been straightforward and fairly boring, the way it should be. There were no big fights, no confusing scoring results. And I believe he wrote this article before Enchanted Green filed that lawsuit yesterday, just to clarify. And like a few minutes before, I think this was just posted like 8 minutes before that article was posted yesterday that we did a video on. But the integrated licensing process has been utter chaos with some very shady results. Let me give you an example, and let's see if you can explain it. On the AMCC's website, where it discusses criteria that might be considered while reviewing applicants, it specifically mentions both lawsuits concerning unscrupulous business practices and issues with tax payments. And yet, as I pointed out yesterday, some of the top scoring companies in Alabama's integrated licensing process have those exact issues, and they're not hard to find. A simple company name plus problem search on Google reveals all of them. Likewise, it doesn't take long when reviewing the application submitted to see that several companies, again, some that rated well in the top half of the 28 applicants, have no prayer of securing a location and constructing a facility within the 60-day deadline for production that is present in the law. Now, maybe there's a workaround for that situation. Maybe the language in the law isn't quite as firm as and distinct as it should be. Maybe the commissioners are okay with some licenses taking a solid 6 months to be up and running. And that brings us to another issue, the secretive nature of this process. We don't know what the commissioners are thinking because the commissioners aren't talking about anything. To date, they have never explained their decision-making process. They've never talked in an open meeting about the merits of the applicants and about the requirements of the law, about their biggest focal points, about what causes them the most concern. They literally voted by secret ballot in an executive session. That's not just violating the Open Round Act, it's setting it ablaze and then smoking it. After catching flack from a Montgomery County Court Circuit judge, the commissioners at least revealed their ballots from last Friday's voting on the licenses and other categories. And if there were anything they could use some explanations, it's those scores. Let me give you an example. For dispensary licenses, there were 18 applicants. 3 commissioners rated RJK Holdings as the best applicant. 2 others rated the company second. 1 commissioner rated them 17th. Now, that's just one vote of several, obviously, but what that one vote does is lower the applicant's scoring average, thus lowering the company in the rankings. Let's say that the 17th vote lowered RJK from 4 to 6. When the commission takes up the list of votes to approve licenses, it does so in order, which means if the commission approved licenses for the first 5, RJK is out of luck because of that one weird vote, and no one will explain why. It's just one more problem in a process that had been plagued by them. And it's one more reason for people to question the whole thing, to run to a court and ask for a judge to intervene. One more reason to wonder is this whole thing is rigged. Guys, that's basically been the question since we started this whole process. Like everybody, with everything, there is so much stuff going on with AMC. Like the different commissioners, some of the commissioners not being on the board, exactly what he said about the RJK Holdings, 2 or 3 of the, a couple of commissioners voting 1, 2 voting second, and then 1 voting 17th. That would have brought them down to 6, not 4th where they were. It's a crazy situation going all the way around, guys. I'm not sure if we're going to see medical marijuana in the state. Let me just say this. When I got Friday, even though I was down about not getting a license, I really thought that we were kind of heading in the right direction. And it was all going to be based on what was happening this week with the integrated licensing, the integrated licensing presentations. And they end on Friday. And so there's like 28 of them, I think, that's got to give presentations. They're 45 minutes long. And like I said before, those integrated licenses are all of the small licenses basically grouped into one. It's where the big money is. And that's where the main lawsuits were coming from. But now my understanding is they screwed up the process on the backside for the minor licenses. And now we've got this Enchanted Green license process going on. And then possibly 2 more TROs that may be filed this week for other malfeasance that was going on last week that had been, for them not voting, not discussing it out in the open, not doing the Open Meetings Act. That's basically what this whole thing boils down to. None of these companies understand where they stand because they didn't have any type of open discussion. They gave them a sheet. They were able to vote basically in private right there in front of you. I mean, it still does not meet the requirements of the law, and that's basically what is going to stop this whole thing going down the road. All right, folks, Whatever Guy signing up, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Love you. See ya.